and we're going to right. Check. Can you hear me okay? Can I get a mic? The mic is good?
Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Sound good on there?
Are people logging on? Just maybe, yeah? All right. Fantastic. People are logging on. Good. So here we go. Welcome. I'm so excited for you to join me tonight. You're at home, your couch, or my name is Helena Miller. Respond here at Gilead Healing Center. And if you've never been here, I encourage you to go to our website, Facebook page. We have a lot of services here, and I want you to just know what we have and check it out. Tonight I want to imagine 75 years young. You are golden years, and you're taking a vacation and family, and you're doing the beautiful things that you do. You have hobbies, and you're doing those. You don't have to depend on other people to do your chores. What would that be like? Yeah? Imagine you have the ability to be example, a shining example for your younger friends and family. Imagine your maybe your challenges are limiting you, and you're not enjoying your golden years. Maybe you're reliant on you're a slave to your own body. Those you because you just can't take care of yourself. What would that be like? When it comes to our health, we're either a burden or a blessing. Like I we have the ability and to choose how that's going to be. And that's exactly what we're doing tonight, and I'm hoping you're watching and you're here. 5 things that I've discovered in the last years grow up and keep a healthy family. Okay? I'm also going to be asking you, if you're watching at home, it's my experience that when I'm trying to learn something from home on a video or a Zoom call, it's best for me if I just have very little distractions around me, none of this naggy kid stuff. Or if I'm interacting with whoever I'm watching, either by leaving a comment or hitting the like button or even sharing it, which is great, then I get more out of it. So I'm going to encourage you to try and do that so that you get the best experience tonight that you can. Hopefully you guys at home can see this, but this little girl, she was born at 32 weeks and 4 days. She was 2 pounds, 14 ounces, and her skin was like basically translucent. You could sort of see through it. And she struggled. She was in the NICU for 3 long weeks. And her mother and father could only visit her during the day. They had to go home at night. And she grew. Thankfully, she grew. She didn't have too many complications like some other premature babies do. But she did have some struggles. And so she had to spend 3 weeks in the NICU. When she came home, she was 4 pounds and 13 ounces. She was still so little that you couldn't even fit her into a little, like a normal car seat. She had to be put into a special bed type of car seat for infants under 5 pounds. So this little girl had a lot of digestive issues. In her early days of life, she had lots and lots of crying and gas and bloating and just really, really inconsolable cries at times. And the doctors would call it colic, but nobody really knew how to fix it. And she struggled. She struggled. Her mother really was not a healthy mother. She had preeclampsia starting at 29 weeks of pregnancy. She was preeclamptic. And if for any of you who don't know what that is, that's really just toxicity of pregnancy. She was very toxic. She wasn't healthy, and her blood pressure was totally through the roof. She had to be on bed rest for 3 weeks prior to even delivering her. And this baby was low birth weight even for that gestational age. The anxiety and the stress involved not only to the baby to be born that early, but to the parents to not be able to take care of their baby without, or just, bringing them home from the hospital. They had to, just wait and leave her there. The struggle was real. It was quite devastating, and in fact, her mother had to stay in the hospital for several days after her birth because she wasn't well enough to be released. She had to get her blood pressure under control. She had to be monitored very closely and on medications. But fast forward, this little girl grows just like a lot of kids do, and she gets better and she gets healthier and things become easier, and she's in kindergarten. And she starts out of the blue wetting her pants, just out of the blue. And her mother, like any good mother, is going to take her to the doctor. And they do a urinalysis, and it's negative. So the doctor thinks maybe there's some anxiety going on at school, maybe something's making her anxious, and so she's nervous and wetting her pants, and so they decided to write a note to the teacher and send her home. And so her mother gave the teacher the note, and the note didn't really help. The note said let her go every 2 hours on a schedule. That didn't really help. And so they let her go every 10 minutes. Anybody ever have urgency to go every 10 minutes? Anybody ever have like a bladder infection? If you have at home, hit the like button or give me a thumbs up in the comments, because that's serious stuff. You can't go anywhere because the urgency is so bad. And that's how it was for her. She couldn't go across town without crying because she had to go so badly. So her mother took her back to the pediatrician, and again they do a urinalysis. Again, the urinalysis is negative, and so they don't treat anything. And her mother was just sure that she had a urinary tract infection, but it didn't show up. So she was extremely frustrated, as you can imagine. When you're a mother and you're feeling hopeless and you don't have any answers to why your child is suffering, it's a desperate feeling. It's almost too much as a mother to know that your child needs something, but nobody can help. You've been to the doctor now twice and nobody's helping. So that doctor decides maybe she needs a specialist, right? So off the little girl goes with her mom to the pediatric specialist, urology specialist. Again, they do another urinalysis, right? And that's negative. Mom knew it was going to be negative. Hello, it's been negative twice already. And it was negative. The doctors really said, oh, this could be A, B, C, or D, and gave her a chart and sent her home. Told her to come back in 1 month. Well, by this time it had already been a month. So if you can imagine a mother struggling, desperate for help, and she's at a specialist office. She's expecting answers and she's expecting a solution. So do you think she would feel anger? Yes or yes? Raise your hand. You betcha. Do you think she would be frustrated? Raise your hand. If you're at home and you can imagine that, hit the like button. Give me a thumbs up in the comment, because this is real stuff. This is what parents are going through every day. Various situations. They want answers. So the mom took the kid to the specialist, no answers, so she went home. She never scheduled that follow-up appointment in a month. What she did do, as she took her daughter to a natural health practitioner. And they did this weird thing called muscle testing with her and found out what her nutritional deficiencies were and what organs were being affected, and put her on whole food supplementation. And this child got better in 4 days. She started those supplements on a Thursday, and by the next Tuesday she was better. By the end of the next week she was herself again, and her mother had her kid back. Hallelujah. Problem solved. With whole food nutrition, not with antibiotics, but whole food nutrition. And that's why we're here tonight. I want to encourage you to think outside the box and to understand that there are more choices than just drugs and surgery. And because of that, I want you to stick around to the end, because I'm going to give you an offer that you absolutely cannot refuse. Because this is a very important workshop tonight that it affects every single one of us. It absolutely does. All right. Now to lighten it up. I know you can't see this probably at home, but this is a cute little comic that I found, and it's in the doctor's office, and doctor's table is a bit disheveled. Her hair's a mess, her clothes are dirty, and she's a bit disheveled. And the doctor tells her, I'm afraid you have what's known as children. And anybody ever felt like that? I know I have. It can be taxing. It's the toughest job you will ever have as a mother or as a parent. Just raising your kids is the toughest job. But we all want healthy children. They are the future, obviously. But unfortunately, 54% of our children are chronically ill in this country. Chronic illness really just means one or more diagnoses. Okay, so 54%, that's more than half of our children, and it's going up yearly. One little thing to understand about raising healthy children is it's easier if we do it sooner, right? I didn't come to understand my health until my daughter was around 6 years old, 5 or 6 years old. So it's a little harder when you've already kind of had them into some bad habits, isn't it? So it's important to remember that the sooner you start, the easier it is as they get older. All right, 54% chronically ill, and this is what we're faced with. We're faced with challenges such as asthma. We're faced with challenges like allergies. Our children are not digesting well. A lot of them, even in the infant stage, have GERD or reflux, and they're put on medication. A lot of our children are on the spectrum. Autism rates are 1 in 36, and if you're a boy, it's about 1 in 28, 29 right now. And it's scheduled, if you will, to be 1 out of every 2 children on the spectrum. That's huge. That's a fail, by the way. That's a fail. Anybody ever get 54% on a test? What grade did you have on that? That was an F, wasn't it? Yeah, that's a fail. We're really, really failing our children in this country with their health. That is why this workshop and this information is so, so critical. We need to understand how to do better as parents because ultimately we are in control. We are in charge of our children's health. It's not the doctor, it's not the nurse, it's not the TV, it's us. We are in charge, and we can fully control it. All right, write this down. The number one thing, or the very first thing I want you to know about raising a healthy family, and this goes for us parents too, by the way. The number one thing, or the first thing, is to remove all sugar and artificial dyes from your child's diet. Sugar and artificial dyes, or at least majority of it. Okay? Maybe stick to just holidays. But routinely, removing sugar and artificial dyes alone, if you do nothing else, those 2 things can work wonders for your children. It can work wonders for their attention span, their ability to sit in class and listen, their ability to listen to you when you give them instructions and not be bouncing off of your furniture. So this is a big deal. So I challenge you, all of you who are here and on Facebook, I want you to do this with your children if you have children, or maybe your grandparents and you take care of your grandchildren. Do a 2-week challenge and kind of keep a log of it. Keep a journal of their behavior, how they're feeling, how they're sleeping, how they're whether they're able to focus on you when you're talking. Keep in contact with their teachers and see what their teachers are saying. And I guarantee you're going to see a vast difference in how your children are feeling and how they are behaving. So this is a big deal. So that's number one. This is an example. I know that you guys at home can't see this, but this is an example of my daughter's school lunches. okay? They sent home this calendar of lunches, right? And some of you have to take your kids to school, and they have to go early, and so they have to have the breakfast there and the lunch, and that's a big deal. It's tough. It's tough if you aren't able to pack a lunch for them, because this is what they get. For breakfast, they get honey grams, they get French toast sticks, they get cereal, they get milk, and they get juice. Sometimes they get a whole grain bar, right? Like a Nutri-Grain bar. But that's what these things are. I was listening to this, I'm like, holy cow. These children, I was feeling bad for the teachers, right? The teachers are overwhelmed because they're pumping the kids full of sugar before they even are able to go to class in the morning. So, something to think about. And because of that, our childhood obesity is on the rise. 17% of our children, probably more now, 17% of our children are obese, right? What do you think the lifespan is going to be for them? What are their health challenges going to be? Are they going to be sicker as they get older, or are they going to be better as they get older? What do you think? Right, they're going to be sicker. There's no way that a child can start out this way and continue with the same diet and lifestyle and be better as they get older. They're just going to gradually get sicker. And they're going to need more medications and more doctor's visits. And they're going to have an early death, to be honest. A lot of the foods those children are eating when they're obese are nutrient-less foods. They don't have any nutritional value. And so because of that, it's hard for their bodies to break down these things and digest them properly. And when we don't digest properly, we can have a lot of that acid reflux. And like I said, a lot of our kids already do. So we got to put good food in the tank. We got to put good food in the tank if we want our kids to digest better, okay? Apple cider vinegar helps. So if you can get your kids to drink apple cider vinegar diluted in water, that can help them. Not a lot of them will do that. You might have to sweeten it up with a little bit of honey. But the bottom line is you have to put good food in the tank. Otherwise, your kids are going to struggle. They're going to have more and more chronic issues, especially with their digestion. Let me give you an example. And this is for the guys out there. I think you're going to like this example. I knew a guy one time who was 19. He was 19 and he needed a car, and he'd gotten a little bit of tax refund, and he was going to buy a car. So he went shopping for a car, but because he's 19 and he's a guy, right, he doesn't get the most practical vehicle. He finds a used Mercedes-Benz for $800, okay? And he thinks he's big stuff because he's 19 and he has a used Mercedes. And the thing actually ran. That's the funny part. It actually did run, and so he was in business. So it came around to the first time that he had to put gasoline in this car. And unfortunately, this young man didn't know anything about the quality of gasoline he needed to put in his car. And he's broke, so he's going to do what any other 19-year-old broke kid's going to do. He's going to put 87 octane in his Mercedes-Benz. Anybody have any ideas of what happened to that car after that? Yeah, it didn't go far after that, right? It started spitting and sputtering, right? And he couldn't really get to where he needed to go. He couldn't get to his destination. And then eventually the car just died, and it never started again. And he didn't have the money to repair it. Whatever they do to flush that out, he had no money to repair that. And so he was out his money and out of the car. But that's the same for our bodies. It might not happen as rapidly, but if we don't put good food in the tank, we are going to start spitting and sputtering. We're absolutely going to start breaking down, and we're not going to perform very well. And then eventually, we're not going to perform at all. We're going to be too sick to perform, right? And so we as parents, we need to be a shining example to our children because, again, we are in control. We need to make sure they're putting good food in the tank. All right. Allergies are a big, big deal for kids, myself included. I had allergies as a kid. I went and got the shots. I was diligent, and they never really worked for me, but they sure were painful. They swelled up like big old rocks. Allergies are the definition is just an undigested protein. That's the definition of an allergy. So where do you think that you need to start if your kid or yourself, if you have allergies? If the true definition is an undigested protein, where do we need to start? Yes, with our digestion. We need to digest better, and that's important, okay? So in the comment section, type digest better so that I know you got it. Okay, if you're at home watching, type digest better. That's what we need to do. Let's talk a little bit about asthma because I think asthma is a really prevalent problem today, and it's getting worse. We have about 40,000 people a day in this country who either miss work or school because of asthma, from having an asthma episode. There are over 5,000 emergency room visits per day in this country just because of asthma. And 11 people die every single day in this country because of asthma. And if you've ever had an asthma attack, and I have, let me show you what it looks like. Let me show you what that feels like. This is an asthma attack. I don't think you could hear me wheezing, but I was trying to wheeze really hard. But that's what it looks like. When you're in a bad exacerbation of asthma, you want to hunch over, and you want to try and squeeze every breath out so you can take another breath in. It's the scariest thing I've ever experienced. Kids who have asthma, they struggle. They struggle on the daily. They don't get to do the things that their other peers get to do. I know this because I was a dancer as a kid, and I had asthma, and I didn't get to do the things that other kids got to do. I struggled as a dancer. Sometimes I had to sit out, and I was constantly the one with the inhaler in her pocket. That was me. That's a struggle. It wasn't fair. I didn't feel like it was fair that I had to suffer like that. What did I do? I didn't do anything. I didn't know what I did, but I felt like I must have done something because I had to struggle. I had to suffer with that. It's a big, big deal. And I can tell you that doctors will explain to you that this is life, this is how it's going to be. I'm sorry, you're not going to get any better. You're just going to have to learn to live with it. Right? How many times have you heard that? Well, we're just going to get you by. This is the best we can do. Well, I'm happy to report to you that I haven't carried an inhaler in my pocket for at least 6 years, probably longer. Since I started taking care of me as a mom, I don't have those problems anymore. I can run, I can play with my kids, I can exercise. I don't have to worry about that anymore. I don't have to suffer anymore. So if there's nothing else you take home from tonight, and you know somebody who has asthma, or you yourself have asthma, or your kid has asthma, or your grandparent or your grandchild has asthma, I'm here to tell you that is not how it has to be. It doesn't have to be like that. They can heal. They can get better. I am living proof of that. I wasn't going to talk about pica, but I want to just touch on this really quickly. Pica it's getting more prominent than ever before. It's usually involved with people who have either developmental disorders or mental disability. But really what it boils down to overall is a mineral deficiency, and this is where people are eating things that are non-edible, like chalk or paper or dirt or things like that. And that really, bottom line is, that's a mineral deficiency. So the reason I wanted to keep this in tonight is because it turns out that they are relating pica nowadays with autism. Like, there's a connection between autism and the prevalence of autism and the prevalence of pica in this country. So something to think about if you have autistic children or children on the spectrum and you notice them eating things that they should not be eating, and you think it's just because they don't get it or they don't understand, there's probably a mineral deficiency involved in there, okay? Once upon a time, I had this patient who thought she had ADD, ADHD. She thought she had the symptoms of that, and she definitely had allergies. She definitely had asthma. So she had this triad, if you will, of chronic illness. And she came in, she couldn't even eat raw vegetables. Literally, her lips would swell up and she would wheeze if she ate any raw vegetables or fruits. And so that was her main complaint. But when we were digging through her history and her experience, and I've had a lot of people like this that just can't seem to tolerate food, especially vegetables that are raw. But there was a little bit of tendency, she thought, for attention deficit. Maybe it was just a lack of focus, but this is what she thought. And so as we worked with her and cleaned up her diet and helped her digest and helped her heal her gut, right? Because allergies really have to do with digestion and gut, because it's an undigested protein. She got better. She got better and she got better and she got better. And then I never heard another peep about how she couldn't focus or she thought maybe she had ADD. So that was interesting. That was an interesting situation for me because I didn't know that I was really focused on that. I was more focused on her digestion and I was focused on her allergies and her gut healing, and that also got better. So that was a nice win. It was a nice blessing. All right, so here's the next step. We're going to avoid things. If we want to be healthy and we want to have our kids be healthy, we're going to avoid some things. We're going to avoid some processed meats. Okay, your cold cuts, your bolognas, and things like that. You're going to avoid some hydrolyzed protein, soy protein. It is literally in everything, all the prepackaged foods. So you're really going to want to look at your ingredients labels very closely because this is kind of a big deal to know that everything has soy. And soy in this country is very toxic. It's genetically modified, okay? And they do that so that it can withstand up to 5 times the amount of Roundup. And what's in Roundup? Anybody know? What's in Roundup? Say glyphosate. At home, tell me it's glyphosate, right? Give me a thumbs up. You know what glyphosate is. Glyphosate is cancer causing. Glyphosate will destroy your collagen. Glyphosate is the #1 reason why kids around ages 8 to 13 are now tearing their ACLs. And these are during non-contact sporting events. They're tearing their ACLs. Glyphosate is the #1 reason why that's happening. Breaking us down. So you need to stay away from anything that is genetically modified and sprayed with Roundup. Hydrogenated oils. White sugar, we talked about that. High fructose corn syrup, that's in nearly everything. It's in those purple drinks, purple and red and green drinks, the little jugs that you get from the pop shops or the convenience stores. So you want to keep away from that. Artificial sweeteners like aspartame and sucralose. So don't buy your kids diet sodas and diet gums and things like that thinking you're doing them a service. Because this is really not going to help them get healthy, okay? It's toxic, and you need to stay away from it. And we talked about artificial colors, the food dyes, okay? Those are full of metals. They cause neurological glitches, if you will. Low fat, low sugar products, okay? One thing, if there's one question I get from patients or mothers particularly, that they struggle with food is, what do I feed my kids for breakfast? Right? What do I feed my kids for breakfast? I'm going to give you some examples of what common people put in front of their kids for breakfast. Now I'm going to give you some tools to change that up, right? You got to think outside the box sometimes. We're so stuck on the cereals and the toast, or the pancakes and the French toast, that we can't think outside that. We can't realize that there's more out there and better ways to feed our kids. If you're at home and you have some suggestions on what you feed your kids, or you want to share with us what you feed your kids, I'd love to read that. So leave that in the comments. But cereal, all the Kellogg's, all the General Mills, they're all processed grains and sugar, right? And in fact, General Mills actually has, in some of their cereals, still paint thinner. Yes, it said paint thinner, that's trisodium phosphate. It's not in all of them anymore. It used to be in a lot more, but now it's still in some, and that's used as an emulsifier, but it's paint thinner. I mean, you can literally strip your deck with it and start over. People don't understand that their kids are eating that, and it actually is highlighted on the label. I'm not sure if the FDA makes them do that or what, but it's highlighted on the label, probably because they want you to see it, but you're not going to really know what it is unless you look it up, right? That's interesting. So you have to know. If you feed your kids sugar during breakfast, and then you send them off to school, are they going to learn good? Are they going to be able to pay attention and listen to the teacher? No. How about if we start the day with an omelet? I know we're busy. I'm busy. I'm a busy parent, but I get up early every day so that I can make my kids breakfast before they start school. That's important to me. I want their brains to turn on and be able to focus. I don't want them to be all, jumping out of their skin and not being able to sit still and focus, right? So, make them an omelet, switch it up. Make them some little egg cup things, like, I don't know what the technical term for it is, but if you put that in the cupcake pan, in the little papers, eggs and veggies and sausage maybe, and you bake it, a little bit of cheese on top, that's real food, isn't it? Yeah, and they're going to start out with healthy fats, good protein, and some veg right out in the beginning of their day. And you can even make those ahead of time. You don't even have to do it the morning of. All right, there's a lot of great options. Steel-cut oats and buckwheat cereals, and if your kid doesn't eat much in the morning, just give them some fruit and, call it good. But the truth of the matter is, the way we feed ourselves, the example we set for ourselves for breakfast, then our kids will eat it. If we get up and we have cereal every morning and expect our kids to eat eggs, are they going to do it? No, they're not going to do it. So we have to set the example. Our kids and ourselves, we all need healthy oils every day, so this is another thing you want to write down. You want to make sure that your kid's getting healthy oils in their life. Okay, what is that? That's coconut oil, that's olive oil, that's butter. You can have butter dripping down your chin, I don't care. Butter is good for you. Real butter is natural and good for you. Your body recognizes it. Your body will not recognize, I can't believe it's not butter, as real food and usable. It won't recognize it, because it's not, okay? I want you to understand that there's a difference between good oils and bad oils, okay? So your flaxseed oil, your fish oils, get your kids on some good quality fish oil and yourself. All right, the last thing I'm going to cover is really what to drink, because people love to drink soda, their kids love to drink juices, and then they love to take them to the dentist, and then they've got all these cavities, and they really don't have the money to fix them, right? I've had some pretty good dental bills for myself and my kids over the years. So what do you give your kids to drink? They can have water, of course, good quality water. I would not drink out of the city water because it's fluoridated. If you want your kids to be able to focus during the day and pay attention to you, they have to drink good quality water. So you're going to get a good filtered water, spring water at the very least. And if you have reverse osmosis at home and it doesn't have the minerals put back in, you're going to want to put some more minerals back in there. All right? Where do you start? At home, where do you start? What's the struggle? Put in the comments what the struggle is, and I'd love to follow up with you afterwards to kind of help you through this. But where you're going to start is you're going to take care of yourself first. I'm a mama bear, you're a mama bear or a papa bear, you're maybe a grandma bear and a grandpa bear, but you're going to take care of your first. You're going to set the example because you are in control. When we are healthy parents, it trickles down to our kids. It trickles down to them. It lets them experience a health that they otherwise would not have. They don't have to be part of the 54%. They don't have to take an asthma medication every day and have it in their pocket. They won't have to have allergy shots every week and watch their arms swell up and be sore. They won't have to. And they won't have to start life early. They won't have to be premature. Right? That little girl, in the beginning, that was my little girl. And I was the unhealthy mother. I didn't take care of me. I didn't take care of this body. When I was pregnant with her, I ate honeycombs and I drank root beer because that's what I was craving. And doggone it, you're supposed to be able to eat what you're craving, right? And look what it got me. It got me preeclampsia. It got me a premature baby, 2 pounds, 14 ounces in the NICU for 3 weeks. That's what it got me. It's never too late to start taking better care of yourself. Your health is your wealth. Your health is your wealth. And you're either going to be a blessing to your family because you have vitality and you have the ability to take care of yourself, or you're going to be a burden. And had I not changed my ways and I had not woken up, I'd probably be a burden to my family eventually. Here's the last thing I want you to write down for your kids. This is what they need. They need good food in the body. They need to stay away from those things. They need to stay away from sugar, the processed foods, the processed oils. This is the last thing. They need to sleep. They need a good sleep cycle. They need to go to bed on time. They need to get up on time. They need that routine in order to heal and grow properly. They need structure. Especially right now, our kids need a lot of structure. We need a lot of structure. As adults, we need a lot of structure right now. We need to feel productive, we need to feel normal, and we need structure, and so do our kids, okay? So structure is important. Keep a schedule, make them stick to it. They need to play. They need to get away from the TV. They need to get down and play cards and play with each other. They need to play with their neighbors and their cousins. They need to play. And they need some quiet time. They need some quiet time every day, particularly with you, maybe reading a book, and trust and believe you need it too. You as a parent, you as a grandma, that does us a world of good just to sit with our kids or our grandkids and just be quiet and read or snuggle. Okay? So that's it. Here's some helpful websites. I'm going to have Dan put these in the comments so that you have access to these. But these are some websites that are helpful to finding real food. So maybe you want to buy better quality meats or better quality eggs or chickens or whatever, I'm going to have some of these in the comment section for those of you who are at home and can't see that. Okay? So I want you to understand that your health is your wealth. And without it, it changes things. It changes your life, it changes your family's life, it affects everybody around us when we don't have our health. Processed foods, allergies, asthma, all these things we deal with and consume, they all cause nutritional deficiencies. And because that's the fuel for our organs, then our organs can't work properly because we're missing the fuel that they need to function properly. And what we end up with is this downward spiral of symptoms, and those symptoms happen more often and they're more severe, and they just keep coming, and they're happening more often and more severe, and more often and more severe, until we get to a point where we're like, wow, what do I do now? My medications aren't working, the doctor doesn't know what else to do for me. What do I do? What you do is you find a halt. Say halt. You find a halt to that, and the halt is nutrition response testing. That's the halt. That's the thing. That's the thing that got my daughter well. That's the thing that got me well. That's the halt. It's nutrition response testing. It's specific nutrition just for you. And because you're here tonight and you're at home watching, I said that I would give you an offer that you cannot refuse. And the truth of the matter is, you can't afford to refuse it. You can't afford to refuse it. We're in a battle. It's almost like we're in a battle for our health. 54% of our kids are chronically ill. I'm talking to you, Mom. I'm talking to you. Between the ages of 35 and 55, I'm talking to you. Because it's go time for you and your health. Because that's when we start breaking down as women. I'm talking to you, Dad. I'm talking to you. 35 and 55, that's when you're going to start breaking down. Things are going to start changing. The medications are going to start coming. How can we take care of our kids? How can we enjoy our grandkids if we don't have our own health? I want a vacation. I want to go to amazing places with my family. I want to have hobbies when I'm 75. I want to enjoy hobbies and I'm going to just do things that I love to do for hours. I want to do that. And I know you do too. So I'm going to offer you what I've discovered to be the most effective way to get a sick body well, and that is nutrition response testing. That is what we do at Gilead Healing Center, and I want you to have an opportunity of a lifetime to just take the step to get your health back, to take control back of your health. There's not a lot we feel in control of right now, is there? We feel a bit out of control, but I'm here to tell you, you can take control of your health, and this is how you can do it. So if you do me a favor, and this is for you, you need to take charge. Do me a favor. I want you to inbox us, okay? Direct message us on our Facebook page. Right now, I want you to put your name and your phone number there, and I'm going to have my staff contact you first thing tomorrow morning and get you on my schedule, okay? Our nutrition consult is a 2-visit consult. The normal value of that consult is $155. It's 2 visits. It starts with a body composition analysis, so we can determine how well you're hydrating, your visceral fat level, your body fat content, muscle content, all those things, okay? There's a good tools to kind of look at where you're at. It also starts with a heart rate variability study, okay? That's a study of how physically healthy are you? How physiologically healthy are you? And how well is your nervous system functioning? That also includes a health history consult with me, an interview with me, so I can understand exactly what you're struggling with and exactly how it's affecting your life. What's it preventing you from doing that you need to do or want to do? Okay? It also includes a clinical assessment from me, so I can determine what nutritional deficiencies you have, what organs are being affected, and I can design a specific nutrition program just for you. It also includes the second visit of a report of findings. So I'm going to give you a nice report that tells you exactly what I found, if I can help you, how the program works, what your responsibility is for being a patient in my office. So you have all of the data you need to make an educated decision and say, you know what, Helena, this is the thing for me. Enough is enough. I want to take control back. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I want my health to be my wealth. I want to check off my bucket list, and I want my kids to be healthy so that we can enjoy each other. We can vacation and do all kinds of fun things. Fair enough? So you put that in the comments for me so that my staff can get a hold of you first thing in the morning. Now that assessment, like I said, is normally $155. And because you're watching with me tonight and you're going to take action, I am gifting that to you for $65. The whole thing, all of it. Just $65 so that you will take advantage. Okay? Take advantage of that gift to you tonight. And I really appreciate you watching. We will be doing more of these live events, so keep in touch with our Facebook page and go to the website if you've never experienced what Gilead Healing Center has to offer. All right, have a great night. Hug your kids. Good night.